in my last video, I talked about the hows and whys of creating a 4-year plan. So that's what we're going to do today. I'm going to have you plan with me. I already met with Ben to get started. He didn't want to be on tape, so you don't get to see the meeting. But we talked about what's expected, what he needs to graduate, that sort of thing, and we kind of mapped out something. So I'm going to take this plan, put it in a better format, and finish filling it out. So let's work on that today. Now, before I get started, a couple things. I would highly suggest that you use either pencil or trusty friction pens, because what you write down on here is probably going to change at least once, probably multiple times. I'm going to be using my pens because I like writing in pen better, and then I have this correction tape. It's from Tombow. It is so much better than the Bic stuff. I get it on Amazon. I love this. So I'll use that if I ever need, or when I need to make corrections on this. Okay, so when I started out with Ben, and in that video, I talked about that one of the easiest places to start with it is math, because math is such a linear path traditionally. So he'll be ready for geometry next year. And in these big boxes, I am just writing the topic and not the curriculum. I will make some notes here and there where I know what we will use or what I plan to use. However, really I've got different sheets that I use for planning that kind of thing. So next year Ben will be ready for geometry, and then algebra 2. And then my plan, we'll see, is for his junior year to finish out his math at the community college. And one semester take statistics because he really enjoys it. And my daughter thinks that's a fantastic class. Like she thought that one was better than pre-calc. But especially for Ben, he enjoys that kind of thing. And he's not going to do a math major. And then the second one, I think that he'll do in the second semester, is some kind of a business math. I just suspect that he'll end up working for himself at some point. So I think that's we'll see. But that's the plan. Okay. Now, other things that we know. Next year, he is doing Build Your Library 9, which includes a geology for science and for history. It's like a prehistory. And then, for those, let's go ahead and write down the curriculum. And for one of his electives, there's a survival skills elective included in that, so he will do that one. Now, we are not using their writing, but we will use their literature. So for English 1, and that's what I'm just going to call this one, we're going to use Build Your Library 9, the literature portion, and then I'm planning to use Write Shop 1 for him. I'm going to download a sample this school year so we can try it out before next year begins. And then he thinks he would like to do some photography. And I have a couple basic courses on Udemy that my daughter took for photography. So we'll start with those and then go from there. And then, so that'll be half credit. Both of those will be half credit courses. And he thinks he might want to do something with cake decorating next year. That was in the packet, or my complete bundle. I include a list of electives that are kind of a think outside the elective box. So some ideas that you might not think of beyond the traditional art, music, some of those basic photography, some of those kinds of things that the ones we tend to think of first. So he likes to eat. So he wants to do something with food. So I'm just going to write down food and then maybe cake decorating. Now for 10th grade, he would like to do chemistry. And he wants to use the guest hollow, Chemistry in the Kitchen. If you have not ever heard of it, go watch my video about it. It is a fantastic course. He is using their botany this year and loves the books they've chosen, the videos they've chosen. He likes to lay out. Even if your kiddo's not a big reader, go check it out, because I do talk in the video about how I adapted it for my daughter, who's not. But he loves that kind of a format and loves all the reading, so he's excited to, and he's a 14-year-old boy right now, so he is very into food. So that's what his plan is for chemistry next year. In our homeschool, we have set the minimum at 3 credits of science. So this takes care of an earth science and then a chemistry, and then for a life science, he will probably do some kind of an advanced botany or horticulture. He thinks maybe biology, like 1 semester of a general biology and then a semester focusing on plant life. I'm not sure. Now senior year, I don't know. While we only require 3 credits, I would like to get him a 4th one of some type, because yeah, I just think that he enjoys science. So a 4th course, a 4th year would be good for him. I just don't know what. Now for history, he had prehistory would, I guess, count basically as a world history. So we don't necessarily need a 2nd world history, but his junior year will be Matthew's freshman year, if you can believe it. And they would like to do history of the world through military lens. So they will do that. I'm planning to do that their 11th grade and 9th grade years. So I only have to do it once. And so that puts that he needs still a U.S. history. So I think we will do that his 10th grade year. Elizabeth used History Detective, which was fantastic, as the basis of hers U.S. history course. And so I will probably use that for Ben as well. And then I'm not sure what else we'll do. So I'm going to leave off curriculum because I don't know what we'll do. But if you're interested in that one, I've got a video on it too. His sophomore year, we will do an American literature focus for English, since he's also doing U.S. history that year. We will use, or I'm planning, I should say, to use this. This is the Great American Read List that PBS did some years ago. It's a fantastic list. So we will use, you can see he's already done quite a few. We will use this as our basis for it. Now, I will say not everything on this list not all the authors on this list are American authors, but we will go through it and pick out the ones who are, and then we'll use other resources too. But this one is one I'm working through him with for our high school. And then I'm also then, of course, planning to continue Write Shop 2 if Write Shop 1 works for us. Now, since he is already doing kitchen this year, or in sophomore year, for an elective, he would like to do something else with food. So something to do with pastry art or more cake decorating. He thinks he would like to do some kind of a nature photography. And I think that would pair well with advanced botany, horticulture, something along those lines. Now, I don't always think that our electives need to tie in with the rest of the things, but when we can, I think it works nicely to tie things together and provide that natural overlap. Elizabeth's year that she did U.S. history, she also did some art, some fine art, like art history and music history, American music history, that all tied in together with that as well. So it's just a nice way to overlap and tie things together in this all-encompassing homeschool life that we have. I don't have anything else here, and his senior year is looking pretty bare. So we may also kind of spread out, and instead of doing 2 semesters, move one to here. But he does not enjoy math, so I think he would like to get done his freshman year or his junior year if he can. Oh, we also need a civics government credit here. And that's just a 1 semester credit for us. Or he can do it over 2 years, or over 2 semesters, but still just a 1 credit worth. Foreign language, my plan is not to have him do one that year. Spanish 3, when we get there, I would like to have a focus on like nature and those kind of words, again, to tie in with it. And I think he will end up doing something in this realm for a job at some point. So having a focus on words around horticulture and gardening and such, I think would be helpful for him. Now, everything else here is blank, and I'm going to leave it that way because I want to make sure that we have plenty of room to see where his interests develop. And while I'm all for erasing or writing out things, sometimes I get things in my mind and I forget that they can change. Does that make sense? It sounds weird saying it out loud, but I just forget that we could do something completely different. So, especially with electives, I don't want to box them in. But I don't want to just focus on academics either. I want to make sure that we are intentional about rounding out his days. This is something that we did not do well with Elizabeth. We learned that. Part of it was because that COVID struck here and here and here. So it impacted her in a way that we didn't obviously plan. But I also was not intentional about this. So I want to be more intentional with it. I talked to him about testing, SAT and ACT testing. And he said that he would, at this point at least, he would like to try the testing for it. Or to test for it. I was surprised because he's not a big test taker. But that's fantastic. If he wants to do it, we'll do it. So that means we'll do a lot of prep for it here, his sophomore year. Elizabeth actually started in spring of her freshman year. I don't know that it was a real benefit starting that early, but I'm not opposed to it either. So maybe we'll draw it out here and see where life takes us. Because we also may be getting ready for a move at this point. So who knows? He would like to take up fishing. Now, I don't really know how one just takes up fishing, but like my husband and I don't fish. I don't know, but he would like to, so I'm going to see what I can explore for him on that. He would also like to do, considering golf. He's taken golf here and there through the First Tee program. And he's enjoyed it well enough. But we've never been real intentional about it. He'd still like to try it out, so I'm going to put it up here in freshman year, and we'll explore and see where we go. For volunteer work, he would like to work on the AV team at our church, which potentially would continue through high school. He would also like to see about volunteering at a park, like the state park. I have no idea if they take teen volunteers or not, but we have one that's about 10 minutes away. So I'm gonna see what I can find out about that. It would be great. Ben would also like to consider or try out robotics, so we're gonna write that down. Then for the rest of these, right now I'm going to leave these blank. I would like to fill in more as we progress through the summer and start being intentional about seeking out different options. And a lot of this will just change depending on, you know, what's going on. And again, whatever we put down here will likely change, but I'd like to get some things on paper. So there is our initial sketch at bird's eye view of the next 4 years for Ben. Click on the playlist on your screen, go check out the other planning for high school videos, and I will see you over there.